Okay, welcome back everyone to Get the Net. We got a big show tonight. Going to talk about some derby cheating, a couple local derbies. We're going to do a little co-angler talk. We got a good co-angler coming on with some wild co-angler stories from the Bassmaster Opens. I'll talk about the, experience down there, just getting back, and, we got lots of good stories from there. And it's going to be a good one. We got a bunch of things to talk about. So we're doing things a little bit different. We dive a little bit deeper. And, hey, we appreciate your support. So stick around and we'll get into her. Welcome to Get the Net, a fishing podcast that takes a deep dive into competitive events, fishing news, tips, tactics, and most importantly, interviews with some of the most interesting and in-tune anglers from Canada to the central U.S. We're leaving no stone unturned to bring you the most raw and authentic dock talk. My name is Jamie Bruce. While my resume says bass, my frying pan says walleye, and I'm no stranger to the multi-species realm. Whether you're puttering on tackle, driving the bus, cutting the grass, or killing time in a 9 to 5, we'll try to give you something in every episode to take with you on the water, or at the very least, bring you a few laughs. We got a good show happening tonight. I just got back from the Bassmaster Southern Open on Lake Hartwell. Got a bunch of good stories from that place. There's lots of other things happening in the fishing world right now. We're going to talk about a little bit of cheating, not just these dummies that put lead in their fish. We're kind of over them, but we got some better stuff to talk about than that. We got some wild stories too. We're going to get some good co-angler stories from a buddy that's coming on in a little bit here. A couple local derbies to touch on, and we're going to get right into it. I'm just finally home. I got back from that open on South Carolina, and literally the next day I had to go to Niagara Falls for a business trip deal, and man, haven't stopped. And there's been lots going on in the fishing world. Been thinking about a lot, laughing about a lot, and we're gonna have some good stuff for you tonight. We're gonna pull on Cody Wood, Canada's co-angler. He's coming up soon. Well, I've got you here. I gotta ask you, and I hate doing this, but this is the way of the road. You got to do a little subscribing. If you're listening on Spotify, hit me up with a little rate and review. Share on your socials. Hit like, comment stuff. I realize I'm kind of going all over the map between YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and all that stuff, but we need some love. If you want to go back to talking about what your favorite color spinnerbait is, as Fighter says, and things like that, then, be my guest. But right now, the way I'm looking at it is you're walking down the street with a pocket full of pennies that you just got for free. And there's a bunch of street performers lined up, and you stop and listen to one. You got that big old bag of free pennies, and he's just asking you for one. And you didn't have to pay for it. It's not going to cost you anything. All you got to do is put that penny in his guitar case. And that's what's going on with this podcast right now. That's the position you're in. If you don't like it, hang on to your penny, move on to the next street performer. But here's where you're at. I need your penny. So slide on, like I said, if you're on YouTube, hit subscribe, turn the notifications on, drop a comment, anything. I don't care if it's chirping me. That's fine. But, to stay relevant in this game and, and stick around and and try to elevate fishing podcasts or give a different perspective, then, I need to keep that growth rocking, to keep everything around. So, hey, thanks again for everyone that's already done this. And, I look forward to keeping this thing going for quite a while. So anyway, we're done with that. So give me your penny. We're going to move forward here. Got to bring you some news from btfishing.com. Got a little bit of new juice in. We've got a new color of Smeltinator jig for the walleye crowd or the exotic bass crowd. It's called Big Windy, and she's a killer. And this thing was designed to catch big walleye on Lake Winnipeg. Primo hook, primo paint job, just made to spec. So we got a limited run, so check that out at btfishing.com or in store at Lake of the Woods Sports headquarters. Also got a new bass color. It's called Ralph Smoke. You know, kind of modeled after the Z-Man colors, Ralph Shad and Smoky Shad, and she's a damn beauty. So people have been waiting for new Smeltinator colors for a while. Those are out. Elite Series Marabou's back in stock, tied on the B-jig. Damn, my phone's been ringing like crazy trying to get those in the summer. They're finally here just in time for October. But if you want some for the spring, now is probably the time to jump on them. So check those out. www.btfishing.com. Use promo code GETTHENET. Get yourself 10 points at checkout and free shipping over $99 to Canada and the US. A couple other reminders while I've got you here. Check out that Sims gear. Been running that. Got all geared up. I thought there was going to be a hurricane down on Hartwell. It never ended up happening, but, you know, pulled out the gamut with the Sims gear. It got you covered from whatever, cold, rain, sun, all that stuff. Cool company too. Like, just look at their pro staff. They got, you know, the guys you want to watch. They're really good at putting back into the industry and supporting, I mean, people that we all like. Instead of, you know, these guys aren't just sponsor bots. They're genuine, authentic, and just good bass catchers. So check out Sims, not only because they have the best gear, but because they keep this industry cool. And I don't really need to sell Z-Man to you too hard. Stuff pretty much sells itself, you know, especially up here in Pike Country. You can go broke using regular plastics, but check out them Elastechs. There's some new micro finesse crappie baits. They'll be good on the smallmouth front too. Those are just coming out. I had a chance to try out one of those Hellraiser top waters. Those things are super sweet as well. They'll be on the shelves at sports headquarters any day now. You know, keep checking that place out. They got things turning through by the minute. Tons of ice shacks coming through right now. And this week, you know, this podcast will be around for it. And this week you can get 10% off all your ice shacks. Man, winter's coming. So load up on them ice shacks. I drove past about 8 inches of snow by Nestor Falls yesterday, so she's coming whether you want it or not. So make winter suck a little less. And they probably got the best stock in North America of 40 volt Strike Master Lithium Pro ice augers too. So check them beauties out while they still got them. I think I'm just gonna get the Canada's Co-Angler Cody Wood on now. This is one of the hardest parts of the podcast is talking to yourself. You know, I'm just sitting here in the corner of the garage talking to no one. I feel weirded out. Like my neighbors walked by and just saw me talking to a screen. It's a part I don't really like. You know, there's a lot of guests that I don't really want to go through all this stuff with, and they might not want to, but we'll bring Woody on. He's usually got a lot to say, so we'll go through the list with him. What's up, Woody?
What's going on there?
Oh, actually, I forgot your intro. Okay. Now I got to pump your tires with you here.
Uh-oh.
We got a multiple tournament champion. A bunch of lakes no one's ever heard about. A steady contender in the Atikokan Bass Classic, and most recently, the only Canadian, the Bassmaster Opens stop number 3 on Lake Hartwell. We got Canada's Co-Angler, Cody Wood. How's that?
What's going on, bud?
Oh, not much. Not much. How are you doing? Thanks for hopping on. I know your midnight shift here.
Yeah, we're doing the night shift. Trying to figure out how to get the volume up, but
you can't hear me?
I can hear you. We're at the mine here, so the Wi-Fi is not the greatest either.
You got headphones?
Yeah.
Oh, nice one.
Fancy ones too.
Well, hey, I got to point out too, thanks for not wearing your tournament jersey.
I told you that was going in the drawer there, so the boys don't bug me about the Bass logo anymore.
Every new guest I have, I'm always concerned they're going to show up and have a bunch of patch pirates on.
You should know I'm not that guy.
All right, bud. Well, I haven't really gone through anything yet. I was going to pull you on to go through the kind of local stuff and just BS, and then we'll get into your co-angler stories. Yeah, they're still fresh in the memory.
As good as my memory is, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, for those of you that don't know or haven't watched the videos, Cody came down with me to Lake Hartwell last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever that was, and he pre-fished with me, stayed with me, and participated as a co-angler in the event. So in all these big tournaments on the Opens, there's co-anglers. They're not part of your team. They just get randomly assigned to a boater every day, and they fish their own tournament against other co-anglers for a 3-fish limit. So this was Woody's first one, and he jumped at the opportunity, and it really helped me having someone to pre-fish with and bitch around a little bit and help drive.
Yeah, there was some of that going on.
Yeah, I tried to keep her civil, but I would expect the same out of you if I went as your co-angler.
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn not to cast in front of you. I mean, you taught me that pretty quick too.
Yeah, you got the look right away.
Get.
It is hard when you're used to running your own show. Like I said, Woody's won a bunch of derbies, and he's well known in his area in Atikokan for being a good bass angler. So it is hard to go to the back of the boat and just kind of off in la land. It takes a lot of patience. So I expected some forward casts.
Oh yeah, I mean, you had me pretty dialed in there with the LIVESCOPE in the back, so I couldn't complain.
Yeah, I brought him his own LiveScope for the back of the boat. He just sat down. He looked like Babe Winkleman on a guide trip out of a Square Stern's canoe for the weekend. So, but hey, bud, while we were gone, we missed out on a couple local derbies, so we got to give some shout outs here. Good with that?
Do it.
Okay, White Dog first. We were talking about this one. I think they had around 40 or 50 teams. Tournament up on the English River system. It's quite a ways from civilization. And Jason McDonald and Chase Hawley won. And big weights too. I don't have them in front of me, but it's only a 4-fish limit, and they had, I don't know, I think one of the days they might have had 18 pounds for 4. They're obviously giant smallmouth. Last year, Gussie, Kessler, McGaughy, and Simmons, those guys all went and got first, second, and third. So I talked to Gussie, and he's like, yeah, the locals stepped her up, bud. Like, people that are used to fishing that system or are maybe from White Dog, they had to watch Gussie take the 10 grand home last year, and yeah, like I said, they stepped up their game. Gussie still got in the top 5. He still got a check, but by no means did he just show up and jack their money. And so
everybody had the live views this year.
Yeah, there was some scoping going on and probably a little bit heavier practice and things like that. So yeah, lots of good stories from there. Looks like they're expanding the tournament next year and going to raise some payouts and everything. So I expect that one to keep getting popular. So yeah, and the same weekend as that, we had Whitefish Bay. We had 27 teams this year. The problem in the fall is there's lots of tournaments on the same weekend, so lots of these fields get diluted to 20 or 30 boats. This is a good one. I fished it last year. We had a good time. Crawford's hosted it this year, and buddies Brian Gustafson and Jay Samsel won. We got the report from them when we were down there. They had some largemouth, some smallmouth, and laid a pretty good beating on her. So yeah, so congrats to Brian and Jay. That's a solid job. I think their average was around 40. I think their average is around 20 pounds each day for the 2-day tournament. So not an easy one to win. Usually you got to catch them real good. So good job there. And also we missed the Frank McClymont. It's the last bass tournament of the year in this area. They've had around 60 teams the last few years. It sounded like it was the same this year. In memory of Frank McClymont. Frank was like the ultimate Ironman of the KBI and the Fort Francis Canadian Bass Championship around here. I don't think he missed an event since the tournament started, up until he passed away. So I was lucky enough to fish with Frank before he passed. It was kind of when I just started to meet him, and he's a great guy. But anyway, yeah, you're a good guy when they name a tournament after you. Yeah. So Ian Water and Matej Demers won this year. They had 21-30. They had 1 largemouth, 4 smallmouths. That's a big bag. This tournament's never been won with under 20 pounds. I think the only time was last year. We had 1997 and won it. But I think the scale was weighing a little light. So 21-30, they actually won by quite a bit, like 1.5 pounds, which is a lot for a one-day tournament. So good job, fellas. It's always sweet to win the last one of the year, then you get to flex all season. I will say though, Daddy wasn't home.
Daddy wasn't home for that one. Got a pass. You give him a pass, Brucey.
Yeah. No, I would have donated. 21-30, that's freaking tough to do on Lake of the Woods.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. How about this cheating scene?
Whew. Everybody who doesn't even fish is asking about it, so I can't imagine.
How freaking tired are you of hearing about it?
Oh, yeah. It's like people hearing about me going co-angling. They're sick of it.
Yeah, they've had enough.
No, not yet.
No one's even going to click on this. I'm not going to put your face as the thumbnail then.
Please don't.
Well,
lots of messages and everybody asking. Nobody knew that you go fish with somebody else. Like there's a lot of areas people didn't know about. So, but
how about the cheating thing? What were people asking you about that?
Oh, they were asking if we had weights down in South Carolina with us and bugging me that, well, you would have did better if you brought some weights with you.
Yeah.
Needed some fish to put them in, I guess.
Yeah. There's always lots of lame chirps. I'm sick of hearing about it, to be honest. It's not like, I don't know why it's such a big deal. I think it's because it's the first one, like the big scandal that's been uncovered since every person with a rod and reel or without is on social media. So maybe that just blew it up more. But like, it wasn't that long ago in the Dryden Walleye Masters, there was a big cheating scandal. I don't know, it's probably 20 years ago. I don't have all the facts on this, but this is my understanding. So, a couple of guys from the U.S. were out fishing like the night before the tournament, and had caught a line, like a rope, whatever. And they're like, "Oh, what is going on here?" And they pulled it up, and there's a giant walleye on it. So, or maybe it was two, whatever, still alive, tied to the rope, like rope was anchored down. They just happened to catch it. So they called the police. The police advised them, like, yeah, just don't change anything, put it back where it was. And I guess the Dryden Police Service went up. They sent a guy, this was like 20 years ago, so he probably had like a big freaking Magnum boombox style camera, VCR tape over his shoulder, had to creep into the bush in the dark and got it all set up. And sure as shit, on takeoff, here comes a buddy, went right to it, starting spot, obviously, and roped it in, whatever, threw it in his live well and beat it. So whatever, they busted him. He's actually fishing with his daughter, which is brutal. And then even worse, they had won the tournament the year before, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's bad enough, and then you're fishing with your daughter. Come on.
Yeah. So, like, needless to say, he got run out of town. The guy's last name was Aguirre. I'll always remember that because still the running joke, like at the Walleye Masters for all the old boys, when they ask each other what kind of line they're using, they say Aguirre. Pretty mint jab. And a good way to never forget the cheater's name. This kind of thing happens. There was a tail cutter in Sulicut a few years ago, turning some 18-inch walleye into brook trout. Little square tails.
Yeah, old square tail.
You ever see any cheating in your travels?
No, I mean, you always hear rumors of these guys are doing this, these guys are doing that, but never blatantly like jamming weights in fish like that. I mean, that's just that's a little offside, even for our neck of the woods.
Yeah, that's doozing her.
Yeah.
Why is it always in walleye tournaments?
That's whenever somebody says something, I just say this walleye guys. Like,
why do you think that is?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure it's going on, like, honestly, I'm sure it's going on somewhere in bass derbies as well, but
yeah, there's still a lot of dickheads that fish bass tournaments.
I was just going to say, there are all kinds in both tournaments, so But yeah, I don't know. Just giving some backlash to the walleye guys. It sounds like. I mean, they're the ones getting busted doing it. So
Yeah, maybe the bass guys are just better at it.
yeah, they've been practicing.
Oh man. Well, that's our cheating segment. You want to talk about Hartwell?
Let's get at her.
How'd you like your first Bassmaster experience, bud? Or your first U.S. tournament experience?
Up until the day of the tournament, it was good. No, we had a good week. It was pretty good time, I'd say. Lots of laughs. Like, I mean, I didn't know what I was getting into there. As a co-angler, you only can bring so much stuff, and you're fishing a lake that, I mean, we fished offshore all week, and first day you're back in the docks there. So, I mean, it is what it is, and next time I would have planned a little better and did a little more research on what we could be doing.
Well, I mean, that part's kind of like anyone that did good there last time. Like I watched that Andrew Upshaw's video and he's like, last time I just cracked them on topwaters and flukes. And that's what everyone said. Topwaters, flukes, topwaters, flukes. You couldn't even catch a damn bass on one of those things.
No, would they get one bass on a topwater in a week of throwing it? Like, yeah. And I didn't even tie a fluke on because I watched you not catch them on it too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's just one of those things. You can do all the research you want, and if it ain't going on that week, it ain't going on. So it is hard to pack tackle for these kind of things.
Did you ever list your riser baits there online? Or?
Yeah, we got a hot tip on this riser bait, and they're like, "Oh, Scott Martin got it on it last time. It just looks like it looks like you're reeling in a crankbait with the line wrapped around the front hook. It looked like two casts. I was like, this is torture."
Yeah, the Great Bear should thank me. I cleaned them right out of it, and I think I got them all still in the package.
Yeah. Oh man, the amount of money I spent on tackle before this, just in anticipation, is out of control.
That ever show up for you?
Yeah, it showed up. I got to organize all the stuff now that I'll probably never use.
Put her in a Lake Hartwell box.
Yeah. So yeah, we like I said, Cody came down with me, and the first day we got there was like hurricane watch. We went to the first. We were like, oh, we got an hour left of fishing. It was a super windy, like 50k wind. Went fishing, first spot, caught a limit. I was like, oh, and I'd been telling him the whole time. I was like, man, fishing in the South is painful. Like, don't expect to catch a bunch of fish. You know, I've gone hours and hours and hours of not catching fish in anywhere in the U.S. I've ever been, and it just never really happened. We kind of just had pretty good fishing. There's lots of little fish in this lake, and so whatever. After the first day, Austin Felix and Brad Leitner were doing a little like tournament, and we're like, yeah, we'll just jump in that. We just pre-fished through a tournament.
We just wanted our entry fee. Austin knew we had him dialed in.
Yeah, they didn't take it too hard. Oh yeah, they did. They beat us by 5 pounds, but we got to beat up on some locals. I honestly think that helped. It gave like a confidence boost. It's like, okay, you don't suck that bad, even though you're 2,500 kilometers from home. Like,
yeah,
you know, and obviously it wasn't like the Elite Series in that parking lot derby, but you know, it just kind of gave us that boost. It's like, okay, you can swing, and we just fished all new water that day, like nothing we've ever seen before. Just fished and caught fish. So got a little. What's that?
Didn't show up totally prepared for that one, but I mean,
yeah. Woody and our buddy Rasmussen we were staying with. I was like, oh, okay, we're fishing this tournament. You know, we better go like tie a leader and whatever, do a little bit of stuff. Like it's not a big tournament. It's $150, I think the entry was, and you know, we had nothing ready. So I was like, oh, we should do something. No. Have another round. Okay, yeah, we were at this bar called Willa Dean's, which is a pretty mint place in the South. We'll touch on that in a minute. But yeah, so we just show up in the morning, and takeoff wasn't actually at a time. I guess they do this down there where they just say first light. So it's dark. We're like, I didn't even have a fuse in my nav lights because I never use nav lights up here. So I had like the Talon light and the graph on full brightness, and I guess that passed the light inspection, but I go to take off and I turn around and this freaking guy's on the back deck. He's got like 6 rods laid out, Ziploc bags opened up, like pretty much everything he owns is on the back deck of the Lund.
Yep.
You know? Yeah. Just like, what did I get myself into? And he goes, well, what'd you say? What did you say when I went to take off?
Well, they were jumping right at the landing. I thought that'd be a perfect starting spot. They were jumping all over. I said, Brucey, let's just fish here. Yeah. Like, you weren't having that.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been anywhere on Lake Hartwell before or after where they haven't just been jumping everywhere in the morning?
Yeah. That's not a sure sign to start fishing.
There's striped bass everywhere that bust the surf. Like the surface just comes alive in the morning. You can waste a lot of time like chasing them down on the trolling motor, and it's a lot of wasted time. But yeah, I think he just wanted to get his shit together. So
yeah, I needed a minute. I thought maybe this will keep me occupied till I can tie a couple liters up here. But you weren't buying it. You weren't buying what I was selling. So
yeah. Oh well, at least we got you into a little derby before your nightmare derby experience after.
True.
Oh, but yeah, I mean, I put a bunch of videos out on this, and I got another one coming out this week of like the actual tournament. But for those of you that don't know, it was the 3rd stop of the Bassmaster Southern Opens, last stop on Lake Hartwell. I made it. I didn't get into the first Bassmaster Open, got into the second one on Cherokee, got a 3rd place finish there. Came down to Hartwell just to kind of, get a little variety in my diet in case I want to do a bunch next year and have a good fishing trip and have a chance at, possibly doing well. Just a check was kind of the goal. And yeah, went down there, ended up having a good tournament. Ended up in the top 20, and yeah, I mean, I'll probably touch on this after, but pretty crushed because it was like, I only would have needed to be like 50th place in Florida to guarantee a spot on the Bass Elite Series, but couldn't get it. But anyway, we had a good time down there. And like I said, Woody was down there as a co-angler, and that's the reason we're pulling him on now, because we want to hear. I've already heard these stories, but I want to dive into them a little, and people got to hear some of this stuff. It's funny shit. So, so tell me about the derby, bud. Walk me through it.
Yeah, so we were out for dinner, and you get your message from Bass. They let you know who you're going to be fishing with. So I get the message, and we do some research. I'm thinking this is going to be great. I'm not going to use the guy's names or anything like that, but he's a stick.
Yep.
And I mean, he lived on a spotted bass lake, so I thought she's going to be game time tomorrow.
Yeah, and we were telling you like, oh yeah, man, this guy's a freaking hammer. Look at his winnings. He's from a spotted bass lake. Like, you're in business.
Oh yeah. So I mean, I'm up here. I'm up here right now thinking I'm going to be jacking on them tomorrow. Get there in the morning. We meet up with him. Brucey brings me over to his boat. Awesome guy. Like, he's an awesome dude.
Yeah.
Couldn't ask for a better guy to fish with in that aspect of it. But so you do your thing. I'm probably tying leaders on his back deck before takeoff, like usual. But
yeah,
we get rolling. Head to our first spot, and swings are wide around a point. Well, we come to an abrupt stop as we hit a rock shoal. 8-hour-old brand new boat. And I mean, I yard sail right out of my seat to the front deck. Boom. And I'm thinking, is this how it goes? Like, I've never seen an Elite Series guy or anybody hit a rock on TV. Like,
yeah, I think there's only like 3 rocks in the whole lake.
Yeah. So that was the morning. So I mean, my shit flying everywhere, all over his boat. Probably didn't even have my tackle bag done up. Like, you know how I am. But yeah. So that's how we started. My co-angling experience was hitting a rock shoal.
Decent start.
Yeah.
Can only get better from there, right?
Yeah, we'll get to that. So then we take off. We're missing the skag. It's not a big deal. You don't mind. Yeah. I don't mind. It's not my boat.
Yeah.
I gather all my stuff. We take off. We head into this river channel, and I'm thinking, like, the lake's back there, man. Like, let's go back that way.
We've been catching 30 spotted bass a day in the open water for the last week.
Yeah, now I'm in uncharted waters. I don't even know where we're going. Are we going to a different lake? I don't know. But first dock that we see in that river, he slows down. I thought, maybe he knows something. Well, he definitely knows something I don't know. But
yeah, he definitely knew a bunch I didn't know either.
So he swings her into this dock, and I mean, this guy has probably skipped 1 million docks in his lifetime.
Yeah.
So we pull in, and I mean, we're 4 feet from this dock. I'm casting out into the abyss, right out into the middle of the lake, because I don't know what to do around this dock. I've never skipped a dock in Northern Ontario. There ain't even many docks.
Yeah. I think the only dock where you're from is like at the tournament takeoff. Or do they even have one there?
Yeah, you got a floating dock that the boys are drinking beers on, but you don't have any like these. So yeah, he wheels in there, and you had to see it to believe it. Like the way this guy could skip under the dock. There's little walkway bridges from the dock to the shore. So he wheels into there, and now there's these big wires that hang over. So he says, hey, do you mind lifting those wires so I can troll through there? I said, not a big deal. Well, the first wire, I grab him, and, you got to hold him up pretty high so that his power poles could get under it.
Yeah.
So he pulls through there. He catches a bass as I'm holding the first wire, and I'm like, oh, I'll do this all day if we're going to catch a bunch of bass.
Yeah.
But after the first one, he didn't ask again. It was just your duty to lift these wires.
It was implied.
Oh, yeah. You're supposed to know, like, lift those. It didn't even look back at me again. It was like, yeah, he'll be lifting them. So, I mean, I did that, and then we pull up to the next dock. So after you come around the first dock, there's the wires to go under, and then the next dock is, maybe 40 feet from it. And, he burns right along that dock, skips under each part of the floating dock. I'm in the back so that his boat's not playing bumper boats at this point. I'm kicking off these docks.
Yeah.
Making sure he's not scraping up this boat. Not that he really cared after his skag, but I mean.
Yeah,
anyway.
thing was basically a write-off after that.
Yeah. So that was my job after that was, make sure the boat doesn't hit the docks, and you're the wire lifter guy.
Yeah.
Like I said, he never asked for any of that after, but it was like, yeah, you're doing that. So, like I mentioned to you, I've never skipped a dock. Like, it's just not, it's not something I even know how to do. I didn't even have gear with me to do it. Like, I could skip a Sanko in there and that was it, right? And that's after this legend has already ate apart this whole dock.
Yeah, you said he was super methodical in his approach, eh?
Every dock, it was the same cast. It was the same distance. Like, I should have made a video to watch and practice it. I mean, you got mesmerized watching what he was doing.
Yeah. Must make you feel like just an idiot.
Well, and then he goes, you should throw a popper around this area. And I mean, I probably had 15 poppers with me.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Those all the time.
That's one of your bread and butters.
Yeah, let's do it. So I started wigging that around, and I snag one of the wires that's holding on to the dock.
Yeah, got one of the cables.
Yeah, did you snag the cable? I said, yeah, I snagged her. Okay, well, I'll get this one off for you. Good karma, he says, if I help you. Perfect, man. So he unsnags me. Great guy. Well, after I lost 17 poppers after that, I wasn't mentioning that I had a snag. I mean, I was just snap that off. He'd look back at me, and I'm tying in the back of the boat. What are you doing? Oh, just changing colored poppers. Like, not a big deal. Don't worry what I'm doing. Meanwhile, I'm down $300 in poppers.
Yeah, and he's probably in the front being like, oh my God, my co-angler thinks color matters on a popper.
I think he probably knew that I was just snapping them off. Because we did go back to some of the same docks. We did a little loop back, and there's some fresh poppers hanging. And hopefully the people who owns those docks, kids aren't playing around by them because they'll be snagged up for sure.
Yeah, they'll be filling their tackle box.
Yeah.
And
So then,
what he said after, he's like, if you want to know where all the good docks are, just drive around looking for poppers because that's everywhere we went.
oh yeah, I got one hanging everywhere. That's for next year though. We're gonna use that pattern.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like I was saying, he had we were lifting. I was lifting the wires so frequently that I actually had to go into my bag, put my Sims gloves on, because I mean some of them wires are sharp.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'm thinking that'll be the next thing. Eh? I'm gouged open there and bleeding out in the back of his boat.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So you're pretty much a linesman at this point.
I'm like a deckhand, I want to say.
You should have wore like no tarp, Helly Hansen, like straight rubber bibs, like a Paddington Bear rubber hat, and like some nice crabbing gloves.
I was still pretty determined that I needed to catch some fish, and he was good. Like he taught me a lot.
Yeah,
he taught me a lot.
He didn't try to hide anything he was doing.
No, this guy, he had a potential 20-pound bag. I mean, I seen them at the boat. Like they missed a couple right at the boat. Had some real big followers come to the boat.
Yeah,
like he was on it, but just couldn't get him in the boat that day. But yeah, he did. He taught me a lot, and we pulled into one area, and I had 0 bass. It was 12 o'clock or 10 o'clock, I think it was, and I happened to see one just kind of little ripple out the middle of the lake. So I'm not saying nothing. I'm like, This guy's looking this way, I'm going that way. So I bombed one out to it. It hit the water, and it was on. And he looks at me. He's like, "You got a fish?" I know it's surprising, but yeah, I got one. So I gave him that 14-incher right to the boat, like it was the Bassmaster Classic.
Did he do? I was trying to prep Woody a little bit during pre-fish because I had been a co-angler before. I've done a couple events on the FLW tour back when it was a thing. Just ride Gussie's coattails down there and sign up as a co. And I was like, this is all stuff that could happen. And one of his biggest bass was like, I think it was the day before the tournament. He hooked a nice bass in the morning, like a 2.5 pounder, which is a big one there. And as soon as he hooked it, he's like, "I got a good one." I put that trolling motor of mine on 10 and pointed in the other direction, and I went as fast as I could. And I was like, if you can get him in while I was doing this, then you're ready for most co-angling scenarios. Because I've heard of that happening. I've heard of like, some assholes back in the FLW days doing that to their co-anglers, getting miserable that they catch one and things like that. So I think you're hopefully you're well prepped in that regard. But luckily the dude was super nice.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to spool me when you were cutting over my line there.
I'm just trying to look out for you, bud. It was like co-angler training camp. I'm part of Team Canada too. It's not just you on there.
There was a lot of training going on in the boat that week there.
Don't cast over my line. If you cast ahead of the boat, I'm going to run your line over with my trolling motor, and you're going to pull it out.
I just remember my voice. "Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
What are you doing?"
Yeah. Little did I know I was just getting prepped. That's all that was.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just looking out for you, bud. It's like a father-son kind of thing.
Yeah. It was like take your kid to work day every day for you that week.
No way. That was good. No, that was real good. We had a bunch of fun. Oh man. I think a couple of days before the tournament, we were driving past Matt Robertson. You can't miss him out there. He's got the big, bright red, ugly stick boat, and on him this and on him that. And Woody's like his biggest fan from Canada.
Come on.
So we're like driving by, and like I've talked to Matt. I talked to him last time at breakfast. I know him a little bit, but I'm not like super buddies with him. So I'm not going to bug him when we're in official practice. So we're driving by, and I think I just yelled like an obscenity at him and just kept driving. And Woody was just crushed, like he thought we were stopping. So we pulled on to our next spot, and a couple minutes later, Robertson ended up coming over to us. He recognized us and came over to BS and whatever, talk about what was going on a little bit. And I happened to pan my scope over and saw a couple suspended bass, and Woody and Robertson were both casting at them, and Woody hooked one, and I looked over, and it was like, you know, it was like a kid throwing a pitch at Babe Ruth. Like, he was just his eyes were just blown out of his head. He's like, "Oh my god, I got one! It was a good one too." And he gets like 2 cranks on it. Everyone's watching him now. Gets 2 cranks on it, loses it, and you just see the soul leave his body and leave his boat.
It hurts to even think about still.
And then he gets another bite by a small follower and catches it in front of Matt Robertson. So it was awesome to watch. It was like a Make-A-Wish kind of style.
That's exactly how I described it too.
Yeah, we pulled up to another buddy, Brad Leitner, he hadn't met Woody at the time, and we pulled up to him. Hang on. We pulled up to him, and we were talking. Woody hadn't said anything yet, and Brad's got a nice big Camus bass boat. You don't see those around too often here, so we were looking at it. Woody's been boat shopping a little bit, so he's got all these questions about all these boats. So he doesn't say anything for about 5 minutes. We're talking, and all you hear is from the back of the boat, "How fast does your boat go?" I just turn around and look at him. I didn't say anything. Brad, he's a nice guy. He responded, and we idled off. I was like, "Man, you've been doing good this week," but like, that was the most co-angler comment I've ever heard. Asking guys point blank first thing how fast your boat goes. You may as well be wearing like a full tournament jersey and a visor at that time.
I was actually ready to just jump out of the tournament at that point.
When I explained it to you?
Yeah, well, I kind of, after he said it even, I was like, ooh, that was stupid. And then you really dialed me into how stupid it was.
I was just riding you pretty good. It just really reminded me of like when Napoleon Dynamite asked, "What kind of bike do you have?"
Oh, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was not my finest moment.
Oh, or I'm just riding you, bud. It's just part of the program. It was fun being able to joke around about this kind of stuff. I mean, we were laughing so hard down there. And I told Ashley, like, I talked to her, and she's like, "How's it going down there?" And I'm like, "Oh, we're having such a good time." She's just like, "What? Get it together. You're playing for keeps." I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize we weren't allowed to like laugh and have fun in the boat," but she tightened us up.
Didn't she say something else though? I don't know.
What else did she say?
I think she used some profanity.
What'd she say?
Don't be fucking around down there.
Yeah, that sounds accurate.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into day 2 here, bud. Well, yeah, I just had good, like, I'll touch on my co-anglers too. On the first day, I just had a guy was a beauty. I've had all good co-anglers like throughout my Opens experience. He caught one fish on a bait that I wouldn't have used anyway. That would have helped me, but otherwise he didn't cast over my line once. Wasn't like shooting for the front of the boat. He's just a good dude. Good angler, all that. So nothing but positive experience there. So I should give a shout out there, but we're rolling into day 2. You're sitting in, I don't know, 105th after day 1. You had 2 bass, which is not, it sounds horrible, but it's really not that bad. There's a couple hundred boats in these things. So he's just mid-pack. Take me through day 2, bud.
Yeah, so first thing, it started off bad. I knew it was going to be bad. He tells me which dock to get dropped off at. So I get out with my borrowed Bass Pro bag there, all my rods, and I give him a shout from the dock. He tells me to meet him at. Yeah, I'm at the other dock, he says. So I said, okay, well, I'm over here, thinking, maybe he's going to idle over here. He goes, yeah, you'll just have to walk over. So I was like, okay,
Yeah, that's just part of being like a co-angler peon.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
That wasn't, the walking over wasn't the problem. It was like, that we're at the wrong place and you told me to be at this place. Anyway, not a big deal. I walk over there, hop in the boat, and he's a younger fella, and he doesn't say nothing to me, not a thing. Like he's big dogging me in the front deck. Meanwhile, the day before, the guy should have been big dogging me, looking at his statistics there, but
yeah. Oh, like this guy was telling you how good he was?
no, he just wouldn't even look at me, talk to me, nothing. Like,
okay,
it was silent, eh? And
yeah. Okay.
anyway, so finally we break. I break the ice. I probably said something stupid, and he probably had to turn around to look at like where that came from.
Yeah, probably asked him like, "Hey, can I smoke in here, man?"
No, he was smoking already.
Come on.
Yeah, he was smoking already.
He was ripping dags.
Yeah. No, in that aspect, I thought, here we go. Like, we're going to be boys.
Yeah, you had your vape. You forgot your vape on the first day. You had that rocking.
Oh, yeah.
You guys are making dust, banging darts, ripping vapes.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was good like that. I'll mention, as soon as I got in, it kind of reminded me of a boat from home there. The console was all ripped out of it, and there was burn marks in the carpet, so I thought maybe this is going to be one of my buddies here. But
yeah.
Anyway, so we head out to the first spot, and we're out in the middle of the lake, and I made a mistake the night earlier, saying to Brucey, it can't get any worse. Like, there's no way we'll be skipping docks for 12 hours. Can't be any worse, I said.
Yeah, the really smart thing to say.
Yeah, don't ever do that. We get out to the first spot, and we're in the middle of the lake, so I'm like, perfect. I can actually cast, maybe let some line breathe off these spools.
Yeah, get that underspin out there dancing.
Yeah, that was the bread and butter.
Yeah.
So yeah,
shout out BT Fishing Underspin, Smeltnator Underspin.
Yeah, no, if you ain't got them, get them. They work. But so I start casting, and this guy, we had pre-fished for the week, right, Jamie, and fishing brush piles and cane piles. And I keep looking, like, I'm a curious person, so I keep looking at his LiveScope screen, and I can see, like, we're sitting right on top of a cane pile, and he's catching a little drop shot about 4 feet in front of the boat.
Yeah.
Went all week, we had to make the long casts and to get these fish to bite. So anyway, I'm paying attention to that, and he catches a couple little ones, and we wheel around spot to spot. He probably had about 4 or 5 pounds in his live well there, and it was like a switch went off there. Well, we're not going to do this all day, he says. I said, okay, well, yeah. Like, what do you want to do? You want to go shallow, or no?
Yeah, you're probably thinking like, hey, I got some good docks.
Yeah, look for the poppers. But yeah, I'm thinking, okay, he doesn't want to fish out here all day. We're gonna go do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, we're not gonna stay out here with like this. And I'm still a little confused, and whatever. So it was about 12 o'clock, and this guy starts making phone calls. Or it was about 11:45, say. He starts making phone calls to see if we could go in and weigh in and what time we could weigh in at. And I was like, why are we weighing in? Like,
yeah, like you're not in till 4:30 or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then he went south after he started making these phone calls. I heard his phone start dinging, and it was his wife, it was his parents, it was, telling them they're disappointed and whatever. So at about 15 minutes after that, he goes, there she goes. I said, there what goes? LiveScope's dead. I'm thinking, what do you mean the LiveScope's dead? Like, it's 12 o'clock. We've been out here for, 6 hours. How is it dead? Yeah, it's dead. Yeah. So he tells me to put my stuff away, and like at this point, he has all his rods put away off the deck. Like, he's done.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. When you had touched this story the first time, I thought just the LiveScope died, so he quit. I didn't really wrap my head around this other stuff.
I look back and like I had to take a couple pictures. I thought I was being punked there. Like this guy wants to pack her in because his live scope quit. Well, okay. So
Wow.
he put his rods away and he says, "Well, we're gonna go to that dock." Well, I don't know where we are. Like you know that the whole week I didn't know where we were.
Yeah, clueless.
So yeah, so he brings us into this bay. We pull up to this dock and whose dock's this? Like, well, I come to find out it's his Airbnb, and I found out because, well, here comes his parents, come busting down to the dock.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he gets his live scope plug in. He's charging his live scope. This is now at about 5 after 12, 10 after
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
Well, him and his parents had a little powwow there, a little screaming match,
Yep.
and there was there was some awkwardness for me in the back of the boat there, sitting there casting off my butt seat
Yeah.
in the middle of the lake, pretending I'm not paying any attention. But I mean, I'm paying attention.
Yeah. A little hard to look away when you're in the
Yeah.
middle of the biggest tournament you've ever been to and you're sitting on a dock watching a freaking screaming match.
Yeah, I'm like,
Without a bass still yet.
None, zero.
And everyone at home, lots of support from the home. Everyone updating Bass Track and watching weigh-ins, watching 400 strangers weigh in to see a couple of guys from Canada.
Yeah. So anyway, the parents come down and they laid it on him pretty thick that we're done with this after this tournament, and so that went on for about 15 minutes, and then next it was the wife. She wasn't happy, and she let him know. Wasn't very happy, and
yeah. So then all the family stuff was done. Ain't too worried about that. I want to hear what time is it now?
Now it's about well, you want to hear about the peanut butter sandwiches or
No, that's private family matters. Peanut butter sandwiches. We don't need to go this in depth.
Okay, right on. Yeah. Now it's 2:00. And by the way, I could have went for a peanut butter sandwich.
2 hours you fished off that dock?
Yeah, hour and 45 minutes we sat at the dock.
Wow.
So I mean,
it was hotter than shit out that day too.
Yeah, and I was getting cranky, and I don't usually get cranky like that, but
no, I haven't seen it yet, and I pushed every button I thought you had.
Yeah, I was this close to, snapping my crayons. But, so it's 1:45, and actually we weighed in at 2:30. Or you could weigh in at 2:15, is what we found out. You could weigh in early at 2:15. So now it's 1:45 or 1:50, and we pack it is cored up and
your flight times. You don't actually have to weigh in until like 4 or something, right?
That's right. So we leave that dock, and now I'm paying attention to where we are and where we're headed.
Yeah.
And I know we're headed to the weigh-in right now.
Yeah.
So I got 0 fish. And he goes, "Well, is there anywhere that you want to stop and try to fish?" I said, "Yeah, right over there. Pull up to that bank." The wind was just howling into there, and we pulled in. I think I made 5 casts with a topwater bait, which is pretty crazy to even catch one on after my week. But 5 casts, boom, catch one. It was a pound 8, 1.8.
Yeah,
and
nice
he
one.
goes, "Yeah, get her in the live well," and like he was already lifting the troller. He was like, "Yeah, we're done here. You caught one. Let's go." Straight to the ramp. Weigh in.
God.
Yeah. No.
I didn't know you weighed in at 2:30 or 2:15.
It was early. Yeah, it was early. So then I had to.
So like anyone at home watching didn't even get to watch you weigh in because they didn't start the stream until like weigh-in started.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you that. I walked up, dropped my 1.8 on the scale, and walked off.
And I wasn't in till 4:35 that day.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had some time to reflect on what went on.
Yeah. I didn't realize all this. I thought I thought he got the scope charge and you guys went out for some effort again.
No, there wasn't much effort. I mean, I think he did put it down. Like, don't quote me 100%, but I think he did put it down for maybe 10 minutes at that spot where I asked him to stop. But other than that, there was, like, he went into the rod locker, pulled one rod out. Like, he knew we weren't sticking around. Like, you go with
Man.
There's 20 rods on the boat. They're prepped for everything. This was like, let me pull my drop shot out.
Dude had 12 pounds the first day too. He could have easily, like, he fished. I looked after because I heard the story. I was like, what am I listening to? And I pulled up, pulled up the fella on Bassmaster, and I was like, oh great, he fished all 3 Southern Opens this year. He literally took a spot from me.
Yeah,
I could have been fishing all 3 Opens and possibly qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. And I know I sound like Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite right now saying I could have gone pro.
Throw football over those mountains.
Yeah. Like, this is just mind-blowing. Like, he had 12 something pounds. He could still qualify for the Bassmaster class. He had half a day of fishing.
Yeah.
Like, man, I didn't catch my last fish on the first day, and like my last good one, until I didn't have time to take another cast. And this kid's eating peanut butter sandwiches, quitting. $5,400 in entry fees US plus everything else that goes into it. Oh my God. That makes my blood boil. I can't believe that happens. And I really hope it's just kind of an isolated guy, but I know it's not.
Yeah, I don't think so either. We see it going, just pre-fishing. You see guys running at 80 mile an hour across the lake, and I think you made a comment about it there.
Yeah, that's how you pre-fish on Dad's credit card.
I think
and dude, that's fine if you got the resources and wanted and don't have to work and can go fish these things, and have at her. But don't take a spot. Like, there's a lot of these guys that are, they have some backing and are out there killing it. Getting up early, going hard, doing it right, and then there's other guys that are taking up spots. Sure, they have the financial backing, but I would venture a guess to say that this guy was done pre-fishing at 2:30 every day.
Yeah, we never seen him at the launch.
Yeah, man, that makes me so mad. And not just for me because of that spot, but like for you freaking drove 28 hours, however long it took to get down there.
Yeah.
And you're sitting on the back of some Airbnb dock for no reason, watching some punk eat a peanut butter jam. Did it have jam or just peanut butter sandwich?
Butter and jam, and it looked good. It looked good.
You didn't bring a lunch?
I think I had an Arby's burger that day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
we hit the Arby's pretty hard down there. It's
I'm still coming around from all that Arby's.
Yeah, that's man.
Drinking water now.
We're a couple 250 pounders, so we didn't really have a fitness coach in the travels, and we ate some celery sticks on the way, but we were hard into some food that was pretty bad for you. I'm going on a vacation in a few weeks here, and Ashley's got me on some, jumping around the living room doing jumping jacks, and then I'm on my own non Arby's program here. But yeah, man, I gotta get her together. I'm gonna look like a bag of milk on that beach.
A bag of milk.
It's a different world down there.
Yeah, we didn't miss many Arby's. We probably made every wrong turn in Georgia and South Carolina, but we never missed an Arby's turn.
Oh man, we got to tell this. So I was doing a little recon. I was like, what are we going to eat down there? Like, what are the good restaurants in Hartwell? We were staying down in Georgia, little town called Reed Creek. Super nice place. Like, I can't wait to go back down there. It was one of my favorite places I've ever been to in the U.S. Had a real nice Airbnb out on like a farm, and watch some of the videos on YouTube there. We cover it pretty good, but There was a local pub called Willadine's, and I found it because I was looking through like pictures on Google, and there's a picture of a guy singing karaoke that looked exactly like Cody. So I was like, well, we got to go to this place. So we go, whatever, have a couple cocktails, have like some smoked brisket. They had some good like Southern food. Went back the next night, and then we tried to go back the third night. We're fishing till dark, so I don't really want to go home and cook dinner. It's just kind of go, and it's 8 o'clock, and our buddy Raz and another Adam went there, and they're like, "Oh, the kitchen's closed." So we never ended up going that third night. And the morning after, there's a bunch of smoke in the air, and Raz calls us, and he's like, "Your bar burnt down." And I shouldn't laugh because like this place has probably been here for years. They had a bunch of great staff, but yeah, literally while we were there, found this place, went there 2 nights in a row, tried to go 3, and then it burnt to the ground.
Yeah.
And then you drew a kid that threw it. But man, luck wasn't really on your side this week.
No, I'm just happy that didn't rub off on you.
Yeah.
I soaked it all in so that you didn't have any. So that was good.
You did whip me one day on the water, which is really hard to do from the back of the boat out in LiveScope country. Cody had a 14-pound bag to himself, and I had like 11. So
I don't know what went on that day, but I think you were just giving me those ones.
Yeah, I was not. Well, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, it's not like I was seeing them and being like, "Oh, those are nice ones. Don't cast." It was like there's hundreds and hundreds of bass there, and it's so hard to get one to bite, and you kind of have to catch some to know the size a little bit and everything like that. But yeah, man, that's cool. It's cool to see. Like, I don't know how it is for you, but when I go down there, man, I like seeing like Gerald Swindle and Drew Cook and like pulling, even though he's a little controversial right now, Keith Poche pulling up beside you, and
little punk.
Yeah, that's cool, isn't it?
I like it if it's like that for you. Imagine for me, this ain't the fall bass derby on the floods. I'm down there with these big names, and we're fishing and look over and Swindle's fishing a couple hundred yards from you. Like I'm zooming in on my phone. I'm like, hey, look, there's Swindle.
Yeah, he's taking pictures of Swindle, and like 10 minutes before I just broke the G-Man handle off my trolling motor, and he says it not loud enough for him to actually hear, but he's just like, hey, Swindle, your handles suck.
Yeah, I after we ran into him when we were registering there, I would never say that to him. That guy would go up one side and down the other of me.
Yeah, like he says, there's a little snow on the roof, but the fire's still burning.
I gotta write that one down.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, just getting the energy off those guys and seeing it all happen. To me, that's worth the price of admission right there. And I'm sure that's going to fade, when years come, as I keep going back down there. I'm sure hopefully you get a chance to do another one and maybe haul the boat down for one.
Yeah. I mean, not that I would be in the mix with you guys down there, but I mean, I would definitely be interested to bring the boat down, and I think I'd still want to pre-fish for the week with you though.
Yeah, it was a good time. I hope if I end up back down there that I can get a partner for the week again. None are going to be as fun as you. I mean, even Raz said, he's like, oh my God, even if I don't catch any bass this week, like this has still been fun. We had a good time, like made the best of it. We were super serious. We fished dark to dark, which, by the way, everyone says they do, and not that many people actually do.
Nope.
Cooper Gallant, he gets up a little late some days, but there's a hurricane warning one day, and I'm not saying this is smart, but we pushed our way longer than we should have, and we came off, and the only other truck there was Coop. He was about 5 minutes behind us, but you ain't gonna beat that guy off the ramp. It's a lot, and I'm seeing it more and more. There's a lot more like entitlement than you think, and you can see it in someone like Coop, who has fought his way tooth and nail, scraped up every penny he's got to give this thing a go. you know, and you can see it in his integrity and in his passion and in his results. And then in the same breath, you got someone the same age who's just handed a duffel bag full of cash and be like, here, you're a professional fisherman now. And they finish last in the points.
Yeah, like when you kind of painted a picture for me before we got down there, and it's not like that around home. You know, nobody is just given a bass boat and told to go run with it. But you painted a picture before we got down there, and I got to see it. That's for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that's one of the best things about the Elite Series is that you have to prove yourself to make it. You know, and like I said, guys with financial backing can still make it, and there's going to be tons of good anglers that have that, and you can't hold anything against them because they do. You know, it's easy to get jealous of it, but what's painful is when you see the, you know, that same financial backing and just someone with no drive, no motivation, and no incentive to do good. So, you know, as much as I want to get handed everything, it's kind of coming from the dirt and working your way up. It just makes you appreciate it more. And I feel like it, you know, it reflects in your results. You look at all the top guys and they weren't handed anything.
No, and like you said, the guys saying they're fishing dark to dark, we've seen how many actually do, and there was only a select few.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, man. Okay. Well, what else is going on? You're done for the year now.
Yeah, gonna shopping around for boats and new motors for the Rangers. So
Yeah, asking guys how fast their boats go.
yeah, a lot of those questions going on. But no, just up at work here and started thinking about ice fishing, chasing some trout.
Yeah, I got to come check out that crappie lake you got.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice, bud. Okay, man. Well, I'll let you get to work. Thanks for jumping on. I know it's you know, tough to make time between night shifts, but we had to get the word out, and I'm sure people are gonna like listening to this because I sure did.
No, thanks for having me, buddy, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, man. I'll talk to you soon. I'm just gonna do a wrap up here. I'll let you sail.
Thanks, man.
Cheers, buddy. Take care. Okay, you heard it from the man himself, Cody Wood. As you can tell, he's a beauty. We had a good time down there. Pretty crazy story, I thought. I really wanted to believe that there weren't really as many people like that in the tournament scene, you know, kind of what happened to him on the second day there, but that's apparently it's a thing. So yeah, kind of makes me boil a little bit. Like he said, he was chewing up a spot and whatever, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sit here and whine about it. That's not going to be any good for anyone. So yeah, next we've got the Surf and Turf Derby, my little grouse and walleye tournament I do, you know, just with buddies. And yeah, that'll be the last competitive event for me for a while. Still looking at all night events on the Bassmaster Opens. Not really sure if it's even possible logistically, but still an option. Schedule's out. Registration isn't for a little while. So yeah, thanks again for listening. If you haven't already, do the subscribe thing. Remember what I told you about the pennies. Give me one of them pennies. All right. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.